Are we here? Hello? All right, how we doing, folks? And welcome to this special, very special video with me, David Connolly, the web developer extraordinaire. And joining us today is the usual suspects. It's ahoy to Kyle. We have Gear from up there in Iceland. How you doing, Gear? We have the mighty Dark Destroyer himself, the great Doranov in full formation. Babylon, Data Vault, pardon me. New name, ding, 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 ding. And the always positive Jim Thomure in full formation. Thank you for being here. You are all so welcome. So, this is going to be a little, this is going to be riding by the seats of my pants here because, well, the plan is to launch something, but I haven't entirely finished it, but I'm going to pretend I've finished it. And if it works, you can all cheer in rapturous applause. But if it falls flat on its face, then I'll either, try and fix it, or I'll delete the stream and we'll pretend that this never happened, okay? There are a couple of little things I still have to do with this. It's a very, very advanced piece of code that we're talking about here. We're going to be launching Trongate Mx today, or at least I'll be giving you the formal introduction. Now, to tell you the plan, I'm going to just demonstrate the thing here and show you the basics of it. And then on Thursday, I'm done with the podcast and live stream stuff. I'm a coder, you know. So on Thursday this time, that's 7 p.m. London time, I'm going to come back and together we're going to do a live tutorial, okay? I hope you'll follow along when the live tutorial comes along. But this is going to be just the introduction. Before we get started, let's have the now traditional wristwatch check. It's a new thing that we do, gives people a chance to settle in and all of that stuff. And today I'm wearing this little beauty. I was asking earlier on, can anybody recognize this or anything? No? I'll show you this. By the way, how much do you think this one was? Have a guess. Shout a price at the screen. I will not be offended. Anybody? Anyway, I'll be delighted to give you a little look at this one. I'm just wondering if I can get a let me show you the screen. Come on. I won't be offended, you know. So let me have a number. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Anybody? Any takers? Well, let me tell you. This one is I don't even know the darn make. Do you know that? Let me look it up on the thing. Anyway, we'll bring it up here and I'll quickly show you. So here it is here. It's, well, if you can read that. Oh, I think it says Denver. It is a quartz and it has the time there at the 4:30 position. Now, you may have guessed by the fact that it's a quartz and all of that, that this is maybe not as expensive as you originally thought. It's actually a homage watch, which means it's perfectly legal. Nothing dodgy about that. Perfectly legal. But you see, we are paying homage to these other watches. And this one happens to be a homage to Vacheron Constantin overseas. The real one of these, I don't know how much it would cost, but I would be astonished if it was any less than £80,000. It's probably into six figures though. If you look at the bezel, which is the part on the outside, you'll see those cuts into it. See how it kind of cuts round? It looks like the Empire's logo from Star Wars. That design there, apparently, is taken from medieval armor. And the Vacheron logo on the Vacheron Constantin watches, which are way more expensive than Rolexes, is the same logo as we have here on He-Man. So that's what the logo would be if it were a real one. But, you know, when I was going out to buy the real one the other day, I headed on out and I noticed that there were actually two options. Two options, ladies and gentlemen. The first option was to pay, and I actually think about 120,000 is more like the number, but somebody can check us on that. But I decided, shall I join the waiting list and pay that amount? And I thought hard, and then I figured, actually, there is another option. And the other option is, shall I just pay 12 quid? 12 quid. Can you even get a Big Mac for that these days? Uh, and just get this one with no waiting lists or anything. Well, I guess I must have been in a funny mood that day. It was pretty much the toss of a coin, but eventually I decided, you know what? I'm going to just get the 12 quid one. Now, hold on a minute, because I have scheduled in some guilt for not buying the real one. It's on the way and it should arrive any moment. Hang on. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. Yep, I'm definitely feeling very bad for having not blown tens of thousands on a Vacheron Constantin overseas in solid gold. Oh, the guilt. Oh, oh, how shall I recover? Well, there you go. So that's the wristwatch check. Um, a little bit flashy. It does not suit me at all because my skin is so pale. Yellow gold is a terrible colour for people with light skin. You're better going, if you have light skin like me and you really want to go with gold, you want to go with rose gold, you see? Rose gold. It's kind of like, it's a little bit more coppery and it actually looks better with pale skin. Just thought I'd mention it. All right. So that's our wristwatch check. I'm going to see how long I can keep these going and try and give you a £6. You miserable swines. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anyway, we have GT joining us. Ahoy to you, GT. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shall we get into the official launch then? I don't want to keep you all here too long. We are 8 minutes in and I haven't even talked code yet. So, how do we launch something that's not even finished? Here's how. We start with a swig of fantastic coffee made with distilled water. And we go like this. When I made the Trongate framework, I gave myself a bunch of uh, rules. One of the rules was try and do everything wrong. So no composer, no PSRs, nothing like that. I'm not even going to use snake case like everybody else. Just do everything wrong. That was one of the rules. Another rule that I gave myself, which I don't talk about too much, is I gave myself this rule that I'm not allowed to look at other popular frameworks. So believe it or not, I could not tell you what a single line of Laravel or Symfony looks like. Some of you thinking you got a whole lot of nerve. Well, sure, I have had one or two criticisms, but those criticisms have been more to do with things like the release schedule and stuff like that. The truth of the matter is, I I I don't know what those frameworks do, and I was extremely strict about that to the point where even to this day, I sometimes get people who say, "Oh, you should check out, such and such, and you should check out this feature and that feature." And I'm not able to check it out because that rule applies to this very day. I think it's important that the PHP community has a choice, a legitimate choice. And so Trongate is really an attempt to give people a choice, to give people a framework that's different, not just for the sake of being different, but so that they can have a way of writing apps that feels like pure PHP. It's funny, I heard somebody in a podcast saying, why is he using snake case? As if this was some outrageous decision. To that, I would say, when's the last time you actually looked at PHP? Think about your top 10 most commonly used PHP functions. Things like string replace, string position, print underscore R. The list goes on and on and on. They all use snake case. What a completely logical and even boring decision I made. But I did make the decision. Trongate is here, and the end result was a framework that demolishes the competition based on every benchmark that counts. This is different. What we're doing tonight is very, very different from what happened with Trongate. Whereas with Trongate, I was saying, right, I'm not going to look at anything. I'm not going to look at it because I knew if I saw something good, I would copy it. Right? So that was the rule. With this, it was entirely the other way around. With this, I decided I am going to basically build an HDMX alternative. And you've probably heard of HDMX, and you may have heard me talking about it, saying that I think it has actually saved the web development industry. I have an entire video on that where I speak about this for an hour, about an hour. And if you haven't seen that yet, I would encourage you to do so. HDMX is an incredible, staggeringly good technology. And interestingly, and I now know a whole lot more about it than I did when I first spoke about it, I think it's reasonable to say the genius of HDMX is not so much that the code's doing really fancy stuff. It's just that it solves a problem that most developers face, and it solves the problem in a really, really beautiful way. So when I made this, it was completely different from Trongate because instead of just, okay, I'm going to redo everything, I sat with the HDMX documentation. I went over what's called the core features, and I was like, okay, we'll have that, we'll have that, we'll have that, we'll have that. But I have to say, and this is quite important, I didn't go beyond the core features. So HDMX has, if you think of it, I don't know how many, but let's just imagine that 100% of HDMX is all of the stuff, like features for pushing addresses to the URL bar, features for all sorts of inline validation and all things like that. Well, I never did that stuff because we actually don't need that stuff, because we've got the Trongate ecosystem, and because I'm not interested in doing an HTMX clone. But we did get the core features, and I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Now, the obvious question is, why? Why would you bother? I mean, who woke up today and said, man, the world would be a better place if we had an alternative HDMX out there, you know? Well, let me be very clear. If HDMX is 100%, what we've got is about 5%. We've got a little bit of it, but it's the bit that we need. To be clear as well, there's not a single line of HDMX code in this. The syntax may be similar, but the actual underlying code, which is about a thousand lines of JavaScript, that was all written by me and the employee of the month. So anyway, the question is, I had a little moment there. The question is, why on earth would anybody want to do this? And let me go even further and assume that the maker of HDMX could be watching this. Hello to you. So I want to make it crystal clear about the reasons why this was done. Oh, by the way, no video would be complete without me moaning about rewrite culture. HDMX within the last couple of weeks switched to version 2. The moment that happened, they immediately were eliminated from any chance of me ever using the thing ever again. There are two types of developers: those who have been stung by rewrite culture, and those who have been stung by rewrite culture, but they're not aware of it yet. I have been badly stung by rewrite culture. I'm not going to build an app and then have an email sent to me in the middle of the night saying everything has changed. Trongate is PHP's first, maybe even web development's first framework that prioritizes stability. That's our priority. So as soon as HDMX went to version 2, God bless HDMX, I wish you all the luck in the world, but I can never, ever, ever use that technology. And I wish other developers would join me, because let's not turn this into a rant, but I have more than a sneaky suspicion that some of the framework makers are actually using the versioning system as a promotional tool. So, but let's not go into that, and I don't include HTMX in that accusation. I'm just saying, though. So that was one reason. I like HTMX, but I'm not able to use it. But the real reason why this was necessary is because of Trongate's flagship feature. Now, I've had, and I'll just get my screen ready, I've had a bit of time to think about this, and I think that this is Trongate's best feature. We have a whole bunch of stuff, of course, the API manager, the graphical query builder, the code generator, the date pickers, the time pickers, the multi-file uploader. The list goes on and on and on. But perhaps by the sheerest of accidents, I think that this turned out to be our best feature. It's Trongate Pages, and it's very rough around the edges. But to give you an example, if I just clear the page here, the idea with this is that you can add elements to a page incredibly quickly like this. And these elements can all be easily updated like this. There is not, and I'll save it, there is not a single line of third-party code anywhere in the Trongate ecosystem, including this. And of course, we can put this over here, and whoops, and we can put it over here, etc. So I reckon that's probably our best feature. I think that's the best feature of the Trongate framework. And if any PHP framework has a better content management system out of the box, I haven't heard of it. This comes with every installation of Trongate, and I really like it. The trouble is, as impressive as it may be, I don't know if you've had a look at some of the content management system platforms that are out there. Some of them are staggering. Have you ever seen Webflow? Have you ever seen even things like Wix, Shopify, Squarespace? These are all content management platforms that have been involved in the game for years. And if they saw something like this, they would probably go, yeah, that's nice. But they'd probably be laughing, if we're being honest. They'd probably just be like, yeah, it's very cute, see you later, but look at what we've got. So I made a decision. And the decision was, well, let's face it, we whooped all of the PHP frameworks. It's just that they haven't realized it yet, Why not whoop all of the content management platforms as well? Why not? Shouldn't be too difficult. Now, I'm the first to admit that Trongate Pages is very, very far behind where platforms like Webflow and so on are. I get that. But we're going to build the best content management system in all of web development. We're going to whoop them all. And I have found a way. So how do you whoop all of the other content management systems? How do you whoop every other content management system out there, paid or unpaid, in a way that's just going to make them pack up and want to go home? The answer, my friend, is you look for a weakness. You look for a chink in the armour. Now, if anybody's looking at this template, by the way, and saying, well, that looks a bit old-fashioned, congratulations, you clearly don't understand the concept of a template, okay? So don't focus on the design. Think about the functionality, right? What can you and I do that will give us a content management system that will blow the competition away? I'm now going after the Wix and the Shopify's and everything. How do we beat them? The answer is this. Go back to the visualization I gave you. And remember I said in my last thing, I think it might not, I might have taken it down. Yeah, somebody came on and said that I'm mutton dressed as lamb, meaning I know a person of older appearance dressing like someone of younger appearance. Well, I guess everyone in his neighbourhood must be carrying pocket watches around with them. Yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, that live stream, I gave this imaginary situation. You're in a room waiting to see a CEO who's going to hire a developer. In the waiting room, there's a WordPress guy, there's a Drupal guy, there's a Wix, Squarespace, there's a Shopify, and there's a Laravel, and a Symfony developer, and a Trongate developer. The very last thing that I did on this, I was saying that as we go into this meeting, as things stand, I don't think we can compete against the Wixes. And I'm meant to be the guy who's good at promoting this stuff. I don't think we can. I'd be like that to the CEO of Trongate really fast. Wix guy or whomever, they'd show up, Webflow, they would show up behind us. There's so many of these platforms, and they'd say, look at all of this. And us developers who write code, we would be sent home in shame. That is the current state of play, ladies and gentlemen. But here's how we change it. I had a look at those platforms. I had a look at the Wixes, the Squarespaces, all of them. I looked at them all. And I looked at them and asked a question. A very important question that probably every customer they get is going to ask. And the question is, let's all say it together. How do I add my own widget? That's right. How do I add my own widget? That's the question. Now, in the case of Trongate Pages here, let's say, for example, I click here. We've got 6 elements that we can add here. Headline, text, you can see a few of them here. So, for example, I can grab a YouTube video if I can find one, paste it in and add a YouTube video to the page. Fantastic, 3 cheers for us, right? And it does have a very nice picture uploader, I get it. But if one of you folks wants to add your own buttons on here, forget it. It's a nightmare. And I'm the guy who made it, by the way. The code is just horrendous. It's thousands and thousands of lines of JavaScript. Trust me, it's just horrendous. I made an attempt at it. I actually spent a solid, it was between 2 and 3 months trying to add 3 features on for a client, and I failed miserably. Go watch my video about my top 10 web development regrets. Look at number 3, and that was one of my own failures. The client wanted these things added to Trongate Pages, and I couldn't do it quick enough. And I'm still gutted. Now, if you want to add your own features onto this, it's going to be a nightmare. Don't even waste your time. In the case of Wix and the other platforms that I looked at, they don't have much of an answer either. They have, and I checked it out, they appear to have adopted, the ones that I've looked at anyway, they've adopted a sort of jQuery type syntax. So they've got, you go into the JavaScript, you can look this up if you want, and you type jQuery and you select a model with an underscore this and element ID and blah, 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 blah. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So when that Wix guy goes in the room to the CEO and making the rest of us all look bad, if that CEO says, how do I add my own widget? The Wix guy has a problem. The WordPress guy's definitely got a problem. Drupal, Squarespace, insert CMS. Nobody has figured this out yet until tonight. And this brings me on to the reason why we need this. Because what occurred to me is that we can take all of this really cool functionality, even the tick, see the animation there? We can take all of that stuff, all of the widget stuff, the validation errors, you name it, all of this. And if we have an HDMX-like library that comes installed with the framework that kicks in when you go onto that editor, we turn the volume up and remember this moment. We can have the best content management system on earth. That's why we need it. That's why we need it. And if the HDMX guy happens to be watching, and I'm just going to switch my phone off. If the HDMX guy happens to be watching, let me just say, I have no plans whatsoever of competing against HDMX. I have no plans of releasing Trongate MX on its own. There is a GitHub repo, but that was just for testing things in case anybody stole the name. I'm not in the slightest bit interested in, throwing my hat into the JavaScript ring. Good luck, JavaScript community, but it's not my thing. I'm just not interested. But what Trongate MX can do is it can give us that connection that can basically allow us to build the greatest content management system in all of web development. So you can think of Trongate MX as being like a power coupling for the Millennium Falcon. Or how about a flux capacitor like we saw in Back to the Future? This is what Trongate MX is. And now I'm going to try and bungle my way through a demo here, and I really hope that it holds together, okay? So here we go, and feet fail me not. All right, so I'll start off just creating an app. Why not? Why not? So I'll bring up the Trongate desktop app. Everything that you're going to see here is open source. Everything that you're going to see here is free, and free forever, by the way. And we'll just create a new app, okay? So let's call it TMX. There we go. So I'm just going to quickly go through this. Most of you have seen this before. There's no need for any great speech. All it's doing is downloading Trongate from GitHub. It's doing all of the configuration, and it has now set that up as fast as that. Okay. Now, by the way, that does give us, even out of the box, this is a brand new thing. But if I go to something like Trongate Pages Manage, let me just see here, Trongate Pages. Well, let's pretend that never happened. I'm going to make a new module. Let's make a little task manager. All right. So I'll add on just a task title, okay? Very simple. World's fastest task manager here. All right. So it's given me a task manager, and here we go, and thank you very much indeed. And that definitely did not happen. Actually, I am curious. I wonder, was that a typo? I think that was a typo. So for future me, it was just a typo. I bet you it was a typo. Anyway, we've got a little task manager here, okay? Now, I am gonna create a new task. Why not? So I'll click create new task and I'll go like this. And actually, let's have another new task. I'll just do a few of them. So we'll have first, second, and third. Okay. All right. So that's us now having set up a brand new Trongate app and built a task manager. We've got a complete admin system. We've got our API thing, all perfectly secure, of course. We've got our Explorer system here. All of that was built in just a few seconds. I'm going to open it up in my text editor here, if that's okay. So let me just go and open up. Where on earth are we? TMX, here it is. So this is the site. This is the site that was just created. Here's the modules. There's Trongate Pages, and by the way, it does work. If I go like this, edit, there it is right there, you know. So pretty straightforward. That's me now updating the homepage immediately. Anyway, let's have a look at this task manager. So this is the thing that was created by the desktop app there. And in case anybody's wondering how it works, the desktop app is just a headless browser. So it's not actually doing anything particularly clever. It gives you some options to describe a module, which builds up a little JSON string, and then it posts it to the Trongate website. And the Trongate website then writes the code, comes back and says, here's your code. And then that's what gives you the PHP file. So that's how that works. I'm just going to make sure my mic's working before I get into this. Are we here? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So here's our task thing, okay? Now, there's a good chance that, but in fact, there's an excellent chance that by the time you've watched this, the code will have changed. So for example, we're going to start using things like public, private, and protected. So don't worry if the code is different, and don't worry if the design is different. Ultimately, what the desktop app has done here is it has just created a very simple sort of CRUD thing. And of course, if I go into PHP My Admin, I'm not going to waste my time, but you'd find that there is a database there and a table called tasks. Now, as good as that is, all of these things are requiring a brand new page to show up. You can see the address there changing all the time. So this is, I suppose, what you could call classic web development, you know. There's nothing particularly fancy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can do a sort of CRUD system, but on one page. So let me just make up a little thing called demo. I'm going to say data view file is demo, and then I'll just load up a template and we'll have the admin template here like so. So if I go to tasks / demo, actually, let's go with a public template. Let's just go with a public template. Okay, so we're going to have the public template, and I'm now going to make a view file called demo.php. Okay, so there should not be any surprises here with this. Trongate Mx. All right, so there should not be any surprises there. Now, what I'm going to do, and this is where we go into dangerous territory, I'm going to grab this Trongate Mx, which I was working on about 10 minutes ago, and I'm going to chuck this inside the public.js folder, trongatemx.js. Now, you won't need to do this because it's going to come with the framework. But there it is. It's called Trongate Mx. It's just over a 1,000 lines of code. I'll do a little alert ahoy just so that we know that it's working. And what I'm going to do is head into the template here. We're using the public template. And right downstairs here, I'm going to have a little bit of JavaScript. And we're going to call upon, now I like using full URLs. So it's something like that, and it's Trongate Mx.js. All right. So if we refresh, you can see that it says ahoy, and that is our proof that this library of ours is now working. So I'll take the ahoy out. We're going to have a refresh. And right around here, I'll have a paragraph with a little button that says click me. And there we have it, okay? So you can probably guess what's coming up. It's the classic HDMX sort of introduction. Let's make a little endpoint here that, that is going to list some tasks. I'm going to just say data. Actually, let's just go with hello there. Imagine that's a list of tasks, okay? Hello there. So, but if I go to tasks / list, we've now got this, right? Very, very simple. Now, on this view file, let's imagine that we've got a little div with an ID of result like this. And when I click on this button, I would like it to fetch the output from this URL here, and it's going to populate the result div with whatever's coming from the endpoint. So I'm going to say mx get, and for HDMX people this probably does look a bit familiar, but stay with me because we start in HDMX land but we end somewhere different. So I'm going to get from the base URL tasks list, okay? So I'm going to get from here, and where do I want it to go? Well, that's called the MX target. It's just like HTMX, except I'm saying HTMX says HX. For Trongate Mx, we say MX, right? But it's the same kind of idea. I'm going to say MX target is, and it's a div with an ID of result, okay? So save that. And if we go back to our page here, you all know what's going to happen. If I click, it says hello there. Pretty cool. Now let's go a little bit further. I'm going to have a spinner. Now with Trongate, if you say .spinner, as simple as that, we've got a little loading icon. This is the cool thing about the Trongate framework. You get access to all of this really cool stuff with no third-party code. So I'll add in a little spinner here. I'll also add in a class of MX indicator. So I'm indicating that this spinner is going to be displaying when something is being loaded. Now, if I refresh the screen and hit click me, we get hello there, fine. But supposing I want this spinner to appear when we are fetching the data, we can say mx indicator equals, and I'm going to just say, okay, so it's a spinner, right? And it's a class of spinner. So dot spinner. And I'm going to click and refresh. And there we go. Now, this is so fast that we never saw it. So let me just do a little modification. I'm going to say sleep1. This is a PHP function. And it just means we'll have a little delay and it will give us an opportunity to see the spinner. So I'm going to click. There's the spinner. And boom, there's the result. Isn't it fantasticola? Now, let me go back to this list thing here. Okay. And we'll try and do something a little bit more imaginative than just saying hello there. For example, maybe we could fetch a bunch of rows from the database. So I'll do something like that. Perhaps we could set a view file. I'll call it something like list tasks. And perhaps we could load up a template like so. So I'm going to make up a little view file by the name of list tasks. So that would be listtasks.php. And okay, if we now go back Yeah, there we go. It's inside a public template now. I hope you can see that. If I had said admin, it would be inside an, it was the sleep that caught me out. It would be inside an admin template, okay? And of course, you can change the theme color and all of that stuff, right? But we've got this tasks thing. Here it is. And it's inside a template and 3 cheers for us. Now, let me just do this and I'll say your tasks. Looks kind of cool. And let's have a table. So I'll say something like the following. We'll have ID. We'll have task title. And I know it's a bit old fashioned, but I'll just say action. And then we'll have another one of these. Something like that. And so now we've got a nice table. And look at all of the CSS that we did not have to write. This is the power of the Trongate framework. It takes ordinary HTML and makes it look beautiful. Now, the idea here is going to be that we say for each rows as row, and then it's going to go like this. You've seen this before, right? It's no big deal. And so we get that. We know that we've got 3 tasks. So then in here, I'm just going to say row ID, and it's pretty much the same vibe here, row task title. If you want to be super proper, you can use the out function to safely escape it. That's just an optional thing. And then for the action here, let's just have a little button that is going to just say delete. So it's not going to win any design awards. I can add a class of text center that will center this. And also I could add a little class of MT0 and it removes the top margin there. Okay, so we've got a thing now that's a bit more fancy than hello, right? I hope you agree. So if we head here and click this button, what do you think is going to happen? And I'll just make sure my sound's working. Okay. Well, if we hit click me, it does that. So it's fetched the entire page and it's chucked it here like so, which is a bit of a downer. The HDMX users are screaming at the screen right now and calling me a complete plagiarist because, of course, anybody who's used HDMX, you know how we deal with this. We say HX or MX in this case, select, and we put in the thing that we want to select. So for me, it's the table. I'm going to save it. So now if I hit click me, boom, as fast as that. Isn't that excellent? Again, look at how simple that is. And it's fantasticola. Now, wouldn't it be cool? Like, this is what we get when the page loads. Wouldn't it be nice if the table just showed up automatically without having to necessarily press this button? Well, yes, you can. And the way we would do that is we would say mx trigger equals load. So when the page loads, it's going to do something. And what's it going to do? It's going to get from that URL here and chuck it immediately into, actually, I can take that out and just go like that. And of course, we can select the table. So it's only going to populate with the table. And there you go. So as soon as the page loads, it's now fetching there and populating, which is pretty cool. All right. Now, here's where we get into really scary territory for me because a lot of this stuff is new and slightly untested. But let me chuck in a form here. And the form is going to have a label. I'll make it as simple as possible here. I'll just say task title. and we'll have a little input field here, and we'll say name is task title. I'll add in a placeholder, enter your task title here, and I'll even, just because it's a demo, I'll say autocomplete is off, so I don't have an annoying autocomplete thing. Now underneath that, I'll have a little button, and I'll just say submit. Okay, now again, look at all of the stuff that we did not have to write. Of course, we can put all of this inside a container, for example, like this. We have all of these cool features, and it all just works. Trongate is all about XS. Trongate is all about bringing people to the core technologies, you know, without third-party libraries. We prioritize stability, and the idea is that you can build really cool stuff without having to learn a new library every 3 weeks, you know. All right, so we've got a form here. If we submit, well, it's not doing too much. So what we're going to do is we'll make a little endpoint here. And I'll do this as quickly as I can. I'm just going to say submit new task. Now, I'm not going to do any validation or anything tonight. I'm kind of in a hurry. I hope you'll forgive me. I'm just going to say data task title. Now, this is definitely not what you want to do in a production thing. It's only for demo purposes. But I'm just going to say this model, insert the data, okay? And then I'll just do a little paragraph actually. And I'll just say, there's so many ways you could build this, but I'll just go with this for now. And I'll just say, new task record added, anything you want, okay? So that's our submit new task endpoint. Now, suppose we go back to the form here. This time I'm going to say mx post equals, and I'm going to chuck in the endpoint. So it's tasks, submit, new task. There it is right there, okay? So it's going to, when we submit the form, it's going to post this to this endpoint here. And I'm going to say mx target equals. Now, the target is the element that's going to take on board, or the element that's going to absorb, let's say, the content from the endpoint. So I'll make up a little thing here. I'll call it page upper, anything you want. And we'll just say mx target is page upper, like that, okay? So I think that's about it. I could add on the spinner, I suppose. So that would be mx indicator equals, and again, it's spinner. Is there anything else? No, that should be us. So if we go like this, for submit. Now that was today's deliberate mistake of the day. Type equals submit. Okay. All right. So you can see that it says new task record added. And if we refresh the page, you can see that task number 4 has been added. Let's do this again. Let's do this with 5. So submit. Again, the spinner did show up there. New task record added. And if we hit refresh, new task record added. You can see the problem, right? We have to keep hitting refresh every time, like this. And it's nice, but it would be cool if it updated itself after a successful submit. So the way that we do that is we say mx on success equals, and I'm going to put in the ID of the result right here, like this. So it's just that, and it's, whoops, and it's result. So what that means is if we submit the form and it's successful, let's repopulate result. So I'll go like this, 7, and there you go. And it all just works. Look, 8, boom, here we go, all day long. So look at the amount of stuff that's happening without us having to do anything, any JavaScript at least. We don't have to do any JavaScript at all. It's a beautiful, beautiful system. Now, perhaps we could get this delete button working as well. That'd be kind of cool. So let's do a little endpoint for that. It'll only take a minute. So I'll just say function submit delete task. Now this one is going to take an update ID. I should have said task ID maybe. And we'll take it from segment 3. If I want to be really paranoid, I could say comma int, right? And if I var dump the update ID, this is us building a little endpoint here. So let me, and I'm looking at my URL there, it looks a bit weird. Let's pretend we did not see that. But I'm going to go to the list tasks file here. And on the delete thing, I'll just do a get request. Actually, let me think here. Let's see, MX. I'll do a post request. This is something that I'm working on actually, if I'm being entirely honest. But I'm going to just say submit delete task. And then in here, I'm going to put in the row ID, okay? So I'm going to do that. It'll probably be MX delete when I get around to the tutorial, by the way. But we'll do that. And then I'm going to say MX target equals, and this is so after we've done a delete, what we're going to do. Well, you see this page upper? I think I'm going to use that, right? So I'm going to click delete. Is this the part where it all falls down? TMX task, submit, delete task. Hold on. Let's have a look here. Oh, I've got a singular. That's what it is. So on the task list thing here, this is the typo. I should have had a little S here. All right, so here we are. Back here. I'm going to hit delete. And you can see that it says int 2, int 4, etc. Pretty cool, right? Now, let's get the delete thing actually working. So I'm going to just say this model, and again, there's obviously no security here whatsoever, but I'll just say delete that from the tasks table. And in fact, I'm not going to even output anything at all. I'll just keep it like that. Now, it will do a response code of 200 automatically. You could do that if you really want. But the idea now is that we can say something like 12. You can see it says new task record added. But when we delete, I'll delete the third one. You can see that this is empty. Now, if I refresh, do you see how the third one has gone? Okay, I just clicked this as well. I've clicked a few of them. And you can see that they're disappearing here. And everything is beautiful. Now, this is our delete feature, which is here. So what do we want to do after we have deleted a task? Well, we probably want to update the list. So I'm going to say mx on success equals, and I'm going to put in that result div. So now, if I go like this, it's a new task, but now we are deleting the tasks as fast as you like. And by the way, this gives me an opportunity to quickly introduce you to a new feature of Trongate, which nobody knows about. It's not documented, but I think it's kind of cool. Let me quickly show you this. I think you'll like it. Anchor tasks. I'm going to call it resequence. Yeah, resequence. And I'm going to say resequence. Okay, I could have put that inside a paragraph, I suppose. It doesn't really matter. So there's a little link at the bottom that says resequence. Now, what is the purpose of this? Well, in the world of commercial development, presentations are a reality, you know. We have to do presentations in front of clients from time to time. We have to do presentations in places like YouTube and all of that. Now, if I go like this and delete some records, let's say I've got 3 records, and I say, here's record 4, and just look at the ID, it says 19. Here's record 5, and it says 20. I have spent hours when I'm doing tutorials, I make a mistake and I have to go and change the database and make it look nice. It's a complete pain in the neck. Now, you would not do this in a production situation. It's going to break all of your table relations and everything. But if you're doing a simple little demo like this, you can say this model resequence IDs. And then I'm just going to put in the name of the table, tasks. And then I'm going to redirect to tasks demo. Check this out. Do you see how all of my IDs are all mixed up? If I click resequence, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I add task number 6. Boom, there it is. So just look at all of the stuff that we can do without any JavaScript. So this is the point in the video where I'm kind of waiting on the lawsuit to come in, because everything you've seen is pretty much, actually not pretty much, it's identical to HDMX so far. And there's a whole bunch of attributes that I haven't shown you. Maybe I can show you very quickly. For example, you could do things like, let's just see here. So suppose let me share, what am I doing here? Suppose I'm all mixed up. Right, is that? No, hold on. You know what? I'm not going to go into it right now, but we do have features for adding data to the headers. We have features for what's called out of bounds selects. So when a page updates, you can update, instead of just choosing one div, you can choose different sections, different components that get updated at the same time. It's a really cool feature. We've also got MX token, where you can pass in a Trongate token and have all of the authorization, all working. This is built. I can demo it if you want, but it's built. And we've got all of this beautiful functionality that you would expect to see in a system like this. But as I was saying a minute ago, it's looking very, very similar to HDMX so far. Well, this is where we start to do stuff that is really, really super cool. In fact, speaking of super cool, let's make an endpoint up, and I'll just call it super cool. And I'll just echo a little paragraph and say, this is super cool. And I'll do that, okay? So no big deal. If I go to super cool, there's our little paragraph, big deal, okay? But supposing we find our task list here, and now we're going to add an edit button like this. So it's going to be a little button for editing. Of course, we can add in our class here to get rid of the annoying margin. That's fine. Something like that. And of course, as you would expect, we can do something, and I'll make this pretty easy. I'll just say mx get this time, and we're going to go to tasks / super cool. So it's going to read that. Now, by the way, if I do that, you can see it's changing the button. So, of course, we can define a target, anything you want. We can say something like mx target equals result, for example, or page upper, if that's what you're into, like this. And there you go. And it all feels a bit not Trongate, it feels a bit HDMX-y. Well, before you submit that lawsuit, HDMX guy, you might want to take a look at this, because we can say mx build model, or modal actually, equals edit task modal. And when I now hit this, it gives me a modal immediately. And it's actually building it dynamically. This modal was not on the page. None of it was. It just built it. And then it built it. And then it opened it. And then it populated it with the result from the endpoint. This is new territory, ladies and gentlemen. This is new. And we can go even further. For example, inside here, let's imagine, now let's be really fancy, right? Let's imagine we use single quotes, and I wonder if you folks are familiar with JSON. It looks something like this. So let's imagine that we said the ID is that, and now I'm going to say modal heading, and I'm just going to say edit your task, whatever, right? Like that. So now I'm passing a little bit of JSON in here. Everybody knows JSON. And as we click, boom, as simple as that, we've now got a modal heading, and it's beautiful. How cool is that? There's more. Let me show you. And I'm going to have to refer to the code. Okay, so it's close. Here we go. Here we go. So here's a nice one that you'll like. This time, I'm going to add on show close button. You can put any value you want, actually. And now, when I hit edit, now we've got a little close button here. And that closes the modal. Look at all of the work we did not have to do. By the way, we've got a show destroy modal, or show destroy button. It looks exactly the same, but that actually literally removes the modal from the DOM, and it was just one little word we had to change here. Another example would be something like this. Suppose you want to change the width. I'll just say, now you can do any unit of measurement you want. I'll just say 80%. I'll say edit. Have I built this yet? Hold on. Modal data, width, max width, max width, max width. Okay, that one might not be fixed. That could be my embarrassing moment. Width is, all right. Let's pretend that that just worked. So the modal data, give me a second here. Modal data, modal data, modal data, target modal, style. Right, that's going to be working on Tuesday. The point is, we can now Do you remember how I was talking about the ultimate goal is not to compete against HDMX? I don't care about HDMX. Good luck to them. The thing's got about a gazillion features that we'll never have anyway. We're not competing against HDMX. Our competition is Wix and Webflow and Squarespace and all of that stuff. And I believe that this is going to be a key component that will help us as a community to make the best content management system ever. Because, and by the way, the stuff that you just saw, the width stuff, I finished building that about 70 minutes ago. So, of course, there's little glitches, right? I'm going to come back probably on Thursday night and do a live tutorial. And I hope you'll join me. And we'll go through some of these features, maybe even some of these more advanced features together. I'm going to have the full documentation up within the next 7 days for this, and you'll be able to look all of that stuff up. The key takeaway from all of this is I hope you can realize that we can use this as a key component to making a really cool content management system. Just very quickly, if I go to tasks, create and submit, you can see that we've got validation errors here, right? Did you know that if we take out validation errors here, did you know that we can add on in the form a class? So it's going to be an array. We're going to have a class called highlight errors. And by doing that, now we've got inline validation. All of this comes with the Trongate framework out of the box. So God bless the HDMX people, and we wish them well, but they don't have that. They don't have, and they cannot possibly have stuff like that as far as I can tell, because they have to be sort of framework agnostic. We, on the other hand, can have all of that cool stuff. So the point is, we can have inline validation errors. We can have beautiful modals that pop up with or without headlines. We can control the width, everything you want. We can have the traditional validation errors and all of that stuff without you having to learn anything. That, my friend, is what Trongate MX is all about. I hope you like it, and I hope you'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it, but I hope you'll join me on Thursday night. That will be Thursday the let me see here. What are we on? The 9th? That will be Thursday the 11th of July 2004. It's going to be 7 p.m. London time, and we'll do a live tutorial, and I'm going to walk you through every single feature of this. It will not be entirely finished. I think I'm always going to be adding on to the thing, you know. But the funny thing is, I made this insane discovery. Turns out you can add to things without breaking them, you know. How's that for a crazy idea, other framework makers? So it probably will be getting added to, but the plan is to give you the roadmap. I'm going to do a live demo in 2 days, Thursday night. Please join me. It's going to be beautiful. There will be no errors. It's going to be perfect. So we'll do the live demo on Thursday night. Then I'm going to rebuild Trongate Pages, but I'm going to build it using this. This is the key component. It's probably going to take me about 1 month, by the way. It's going to be a full month, full-time work. Heaven knows how I'm going to even eat, but I'll find a way. And then when that's ready, it'll probably take about 1 month for me to build this. I'm going to come back and I am going to show you and YouTube the greatest CMS tutorial ever. I'm going to show you how to add your own widgets, your own little buttons and all of that stuff. It's going to be easy. It's going to be really, really fast. That is why we made this. And I commend this to the House. End of launch. Thank you very much indeed. I'll hang about for questions, comments, or suggestions. Is anyone here? Let's see what we got. Let's see. Ah, I pressed the wrong thing. Let me say that again then, won't you? I pressed the wrong button. That's what it was. It was not the mic. The mic's cool. We've got a good mic. Let me say that again. With an incredible, can you believe it, people? The mighty Dark Destroyer himself, Doronov, with an incredible €50 donation. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you, Doronov. Thank you. You are, and actually, 50. Shall we make him a producer? Well, I think we should. He is a producer of tonight's show. Thank you to the Dark Destroyer, Doronov. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. And can you believe it? With 7,500 Icelandic coronas. Is that what that is? Our friend from up there in Iceland, Gear. And look at his beautiful picture. Doesn't he look like Face from the A-Team? You handsome devil. Bless you, Gear. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. And I certainly hope that my sound is working now. We're going to have to make you an executive producer of today's show. Thank you to the Dark Destroyer, Doronov. Take a bow, my friend. And thank you, Gear. Been with us since the start and still here. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I hope I did not miss too much with the sound going. What a lucky guy. That's incredible. Who knows? Maybe the open source gig isn't so bad after all. I'm taken aback here. Okay, so that's about us. HDMX didn't rewrite that the first breaking change in 4 years. The only breaking change was moving to use plugins. Yeah, let me just say something. Actually, I don't know what's going on with HDMX. I've never met them or anything, but if you are not a Trongate developer, use HDMX, okay? They are better at this than me, okay? So I'm not at all going after HDMX here. I'm trying to build a content management system. This was one little component that we need. And the key point of the whole demo, and it kind of fell a bit in its arse, right? But it was the point where I could say MX build modal and it builds the thing. That's the stuff that we really need. Do you see what I mean? And we just used a little bit of HDMX inspiration to get there. But let me make this crystal clear. If it's my own JavaScript versus HTMX, use HTMX. It's brilliant. I think the guy saved web development. Again, the goal is not to compete with HDMX. This is very specifically a little tiny part of the Trongate framework that's going to enable us to build something really, really cool. This is not the end result. You think this is it? You think this toilet paper that I've just showed you is the final product? No, the final product is the content management system. That is when we get the real demo. That's when we get the champagne out and all of that stuff. But that is something that's going to have to wait, you know? Anyway, there we go. Okay, is there anything else that I need to respond to here? Thank you, Zuma, by the way. Still have no further lines. Still trying to. Thank you, Babylon Data Vault. Some of you folks have got interesting names. Timothy is here. I agree with the sneak case. I'm working with Rust, you genius, and I've no more need to switch between cases. Okay, cool. By the way, the day that I think that PHP might be switching to camel case, they might be. When the day comes, like right now, I haven't done the test for a while, but the last time I checked, something like 90% of PHP is written in snake case that we use. When the day comes along when 50.1% or more of Trongate uses camel case, or of PHP uses camel case, on that day the Trongate framework will switch to camel case. But until that day comes, we are sticking with the core technology. Trongate is for people who love pure PHP, and we write in the style and with the syntax of pure PHP. Some people have a problem handling that, and my apologies, I can't help you. But we are sticking to the core technology. It's actually a framework for people who don't like frameworks, funnily enough. We love PHP, but we don't like frameworks. Do you know what I mean? Thank you very much indeed for that comment. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so what else have we got here? We have another thing. I tried installing it a few minutes ago, but couldn't make it work. Asked for help, but didn't get a reply. I guess I'll try again. Well, don't worry about a thing. We've got a help bar. Doronov hangs out there. Simon, Dan from America, a whole bunch of cool people who are far smarter than me, and they are so good, and we're really really grateful. Um, and yeah, I cannot say it enough. Trongate is not me. In fact, um, I don't know. I don't want it. There's an old rule: never say never. But I don't rule out the possibility that the next tutorial that I do is my last Trongate tutorial on YouTube. I'm quite serious. Trongate is a community effort, and it's unfair of me to take all of the credit and be the guy in the limelight. We do have a Trongate channel, and soon you'll see that that is where the tutorials and stuff go, and I'm just going to be away from the front line, you know. So thank you to everybody, the contributors and all of that. We need you, and we love you in a very macho type of a way, you know. All right. Um, Timothy, good to see you. Good to see you. And let me just see if there's anything I need to respond to. The great Trefwood Punk. Where have you been, you crazy rock and roller? It's very good to see you. Very good to see you, man. I tell you, I've been thinking about you, not in an inappropriate way, and it's good to know that you're all right. Here comes Mark Knopfler, who is an incredible guitar player, you know, and it's really good to see you. Thank you, thank you. He says, this is bloody great. Treff there says, this is beautiful, DC. Absolute nice one. Thank you, thank you. Again, I can't take too much credit because, don't get me wrong, as I said right at the start of this, when I made Trongate, the rule was I'm not allowed to look at other stuff. When I made Trongate MX, I make no secret of it. I was looking at I was looking at HDMX and saying, okay, what have they got? What have they got? I never copied any of the code. I just took the core functionality and rewrote it from scratch, I suppose you could say. But to the maker of HDMX, to that guy, you handsome devil, what's his name? Anyway, let me say, if you are the maker of HDMX and you're feeling a little bit shortchanged, I will send you a very high definition picture of my Lamborghini when I get it. You have my word. Thank you very much. All right, let's see what else we got. Um, so, no, Mark Knopfler says, I'm semi-orgasmic right now. Okay. Um, Sarbovan, new name. Ding, 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 ding. Says, amazing tutorial. Hope you post it to the channel soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not Mark Knopfler says, hit the like, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Trongate has potential. More people need to get to know it. Says, Cotizaclones Equipo? Cotizaclones Equipo? Thank you, thank you. And if that's a new name, it's a special ahoy to you. Sarbovan, nice to see you. Gear, always good to have you here. And I tell you what, am I not the luckiest guy? I've got donations and everything here. Um, I think I misunderstood where you're coming from. Yep. Uh, okay. So as Babylon Data Vault says, today we saw the build of the tools that we need to build the tires. Yes, he gets it, or she. I suppose I should say or they. Who knows? Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We glimpsed a single brick and you are constructing an entire palace. Absolutely. Thank you. And we are constructing a palace because I could not do this without you folks. And especially, I have to say, likes of yourself, Gear, Doranov, their donations and stuff. I'm not going to ever, ever come on and start talking about Patreons and stuff. It's just not me. But I can come on and say that I'm really, really grateful for all of the support. And just as a reminder, this is not a six-figure sum watch. This is 12 quid from AliExpress. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really, really grateful. And I cannot stress that enough. It's certainly a team effort as far as I'm concerned, you know. Um, okay. Oh, and by the way, that reminds me. Um, a few years ago, I did a thing by the name of Speed Coding Academy. It's on my top 10 biggest mistakes ever. And it was a training course and it went disastrously wrong because I used third party libraries and blah, 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 blah. You know what's happened, right? I'll get rewritten. Thing was out of date before I'd even launched it. That was one of the biggest mistakes of my professional career. Actually, screw the professional. Probably one of the biggest mistakes of my life. But you know what? We are this close to having something really good. And it's not going to get rewritten. It's not. The people behind this framework, not just me, they all have this crazy idea that you can improve things without breaking them. What a concept. And I want you to know that this stuff that we are building, I'm not saying it won't change. The Trongate framework had about 5 updates today. It gets updated constantly. But the point is, we believe in improving stuff without breaking it. And I'm going to let you be the first to know. I've been thinking about that list in that video of all of my top 10 biggest regrets. And I believe that there are a few items on that list that are waiting to be revisited. Why not? I'm still here. I'm still alive, you know? And so, just maybe, Speed Coding Academy could come back in some way pretty soon. And to people like Gear, who was there right at the start, who gave such a kind donation tonight, I want you to know that when I did Speed Coding Academy, I was on my ass, even more so than now. And I remember I said, if you folks stand by me early on, I'll do this, that, and I wrote out a big bunch of promises. It was all kind of you know, you can have the shirt off my back stuff. I did that. And I can exclusively reveal you may not be able to see those videos, but they're still there. I kept them on YouTube. I made them private though. They're all still there, all of them. And every single promise shall be honored. Every single one. I promise. And I'll show you the videos and everything. So keep the flame alive, keep hope alive. Yes, you know, it took us a while longer than I thought. It turned out building a framework was quite easy. The difficult part's getting people to use it, but we're still here and we're still in the game. So thank you for standing by me all these years, and don't give up on me, you know, don't give up on me, because this is the age of integrity. I don't swear as much as I used to, and I'm trying my best here, you know, I'm trying my best. All right, folks, bless you all to the highest. I appreciate you being here. This has been a sort of introduction, I suppose, to Trongate MX. Join me on Thursday at 7 p.m. London time, and we'll have a live tutorial. You'll be able to download the thing and go through it with me. We'll all go through it together, and if there's mistakes, we'll just have a laugh. But it should be good, okay? So join me on Monday. Thanks again, of course, to the great Dark Destroyer himself, Doranov, who has been helping every step of the way with all of this gear, pillar of the community. I consider you folks to be more than just friends. Thank you. I'll see you on Thursday. Take it easy, folks. Bye. All right.